So it wouldn't be an over-exaggeration to say that Sony has had a pretty interesting month. First, its new hero shooter, Concord, is unceremoniously pulled from sale, refunds are given, and its servers shut down. All this happening within just a week and a half of the game going live. Then, we have the rather controversial reveal of the PS5 Pro, a new £700 mid-generation refresh that does not have a disk drive as standard, nor does it include a stand. You have to buy them all separately. I'll let you all decide what to make of that one. Right in the middle of this otherwise PR nightmare is Sony's latest title, Astro Bot, a game developed by Team Asobi. Astro Bot is the successor to Astro's Playroom, a free game you get pre-installed with your PS5, so naturally it was quite successful. After the positive reception of Playroom, the team were given the go-ahead to develop a new Astro title. To do this, they would leverage everything they had learned from Astro's Playroom with the goal of making it bigger and better. The result of this is a game that is now being considered a genuine Game of the Year contender, and after achieving the platinum for Astro Bot just a few days ago, I would be inclined to agree with this sentiment. I'll start by saying that Astro Bot is one of the most mechanically rich games I have ever played. The sheer amount of features that Astro Bot leverages and allows you to mess around with is genuinely jaw-dropping. Just when I think they've thrown everything at me, they bring in a new mechanic that just completely floors me. And even when these mechanics show up in later levels, they never feel repetitive. They're always leveraged in new and exciting ways. With most stages, they provide you with abilities that allow you to traverse its environment, such as frog boxing gloves, a horizontal dog rocket, a vertical chicken rocket, an elephant that balloons you up so you can float, and one of my personal favourites, the stopwatch that slows down time, allowing us to use enemies' projectiles as platforms and navigate otherwise incredibly fast moving obstacles. It made me feel like Quicksilver in that one scene from that X-Men movie. Another favourite was the mouse ability, allowing us to shrink up and down at will to explore miniature sections of the stage. I felt this ability was left heavily underutilised, only being used for one stage, and I would have liked to have seen it utilised more, as it's one of the most enjoyable and satisfying abilities to use in the game. And also, just as a side note, this also made me think that an Ant-Man video game could go very hard. Astro Bot is also one of the only PS5 games I've played that made full use of the bespoke features of the DualSense controller without ever feeling forced or like an additional gimmick. Usually, when a game does try and take advantage of the DualSense's features, I just end up turning them off, as they can be a little bit irritating, bordering on useless. But with Astro Bot, they are a quintessential part of the experience. And by turning them off, you're robbing yourself of that experience completely. It's a game that reminds you how incredible the DualSense is. That is, until it gets stick drift and you have to break it apart to try and fix it, which I had to do. But hey ho, that's an industry-wide issue that I won't get into right now unless I want to balloon this video up to 40 minutes long. I don't think I can list all of what Astro Bot does, and to be honest, I don't want to. Astro Bot is one of those games where I firmly believe that you should go into most of this game completely blind, and just allow it to surprise and entertain you with everything it can do. Astro Bot's remarkable utilization of its physics and its traversal mechanics would be nothing without the incredibly creative stages Team Asobi crafted. Its stages are thematically beautiful and incredibly well put together. While all follow the same formula of getting from point A to point B, it's just how creative they get with this formula that keeps the traversal of Astro Bot fresh throughout. The levels of Astro Bot range from insanely fun and cute to absolute hell nightmares that feel like they were crafted by the devil with the sole intent to torture my soul. And yet, they all have one thing in common. Whether difficult or not, they are all expertly crafted, and they are all incredibly fun to play. When it comes to the level design of Astro Bot, I genuinely cannot find any weak points. I firmly believe at the moment it is as close to perfect as a platformer can get. Astro Bot does its very best to honour the hardware and software of PlayStation's history. One of the main objectives of Astro Bot is finding the lost bots on each stage. These can be standard bots, but also special bots dressed up as beloved characters from PlayStation's past, such as Ratchet and Clank, Crash Bandicoot, and Sackboy from Little Big Planet. They also honour PlayStation mascots of old and new by introducing specialised levels and abilities dedicated to PlayStation's biggest titles, such as Uncharted, God of War, and the Horizon series. As well as this, we see the hardware of old reappear to help you in the final fight, a move that surprisingly had me weirdly emotional, especially the spaceship PlayStation 1 rocking up to the tune of that now iconic boot-up sound to help me fight these aliens. With all this, it's clear that Team Asobi wields nostalgia in a way that is so remarkably effective. It will be actively doing something entirely new whilst honouring that which came before. It also ignited a spark in me to return to some of these older titles, and maybe ones I'd never played before, just to see what I was missing out on. There was only one thing that slightly marred my experience with this game. I'm confident it was something I did, but I'll quickly warn you, as I'm aware that it's also happening to other players too. We all know that joke where if you turn off the PlayStation 5 the wrong way, it gets mad at you, but nothing ever really happens. That all changed with Astro Bot. Put it simply, I switched my console off the wrong way. By pure accident, I switched it off at the socket when it was in sleep mode, and when I booted up Astro Bot next, I found that over 150 bots I'd rescued had vanished, and my progress on all the worlds I'd been to was not 100% anymore. It was so strange. Nothing else had vanished. I had all the puzzle pieces, I had all the secret portals, except the bots, so I had to quickly go get them back, as without them, I'd somehow put myself into this strange soft lock that meant progression was effectively broken. It was an irritating setback, especially since I was attempting the Platinum Trophy. But that being said, I came to not really mind it, as I got to go through all these amazing worlds all over again. Something that I was already going to do. I just found myself doing it earlier than I expected. But yeah, I'm mentioning that here because I don't know if it's a widespread issue, but quit out properly, and God help you if you have a power cut. To conclude, Astro Bot is a game that goes about everything it does with a level of joy that borders on infectious. It's a game that has this ability to get me grinning and laughing, which is something I don't think I felt this much since the musical number from 2017's Mario Odyssey. Basically, the game showed me I'm not emotionally dead, which is pretty nice. Initially, buying Astro Bot felt like a big ask, especially with the previous Astro title effectively being free. I wasn't sure if I could justify its 60 quid price point, but now I can say with absolute confidence that I was wrong. I was so very wrong. If you want a game that allows you to get fully lost in the wonders of its bright and colourful worlds, its incredible soundtracks, and its amazing gameplay loop, I can wholeheartedly recommend Astro Bot.